So can they hear us?
Yeah, they hear you. Whenever you want a affirmative,
okay.
if they hear what you're saying, say, can I get a 1 or a 2?
Can I have a 1 if you hear me, please? If you hear us.
There you go.
Okay.
Give me a 2 if you don't know what we're talking about. Give me a 2. Just give me a 2 anyways. Give me a 2. See?
All right. Okay.
They're live. They're live and real.
Well, my name.
So tell them how you met me, how we came onto it, how I gave you the class, to then just hit the ground running, don't look back. You'll stop it around whenever you feel like it. But try to go to about 10:30.
Okay, perfect. So our wrestling, I say our, Rabbi David Katz and I, our background when we were both in our teens, we grew up with a really unique sport, and this sport is wrestling. And wrestling happens to pull something out of you and also create something inside of you at the same time. It's almost like that Tsum idea, like in and out, this vacuum and whatnot. But
just make sure you're speaking to that, just to make sure.
So wrestling, he was telling me that he's making a connection between Torah and wrestling.
And the transition from like right. We'll start with telling them how you met me.
Okay.
I didn't even know that you were a wrestler until like 3 hours ago.
Well, I knew that that Rabbi Katz was a wrestler from his bio, and I happen to be a wrestler. I still consider myself a wrestler. We consider ourselves wrestlers still, and I read that about him, and I immediately had a connection. The wrestling world is really, really tight. And
like you resonate with this picture?
Yeah. So this picture that Rabbi puts on here is, I have my qualms with this match, but whatever. That's a whole different story. At any rate,
but you understand what it means.
Yeah, you're
just the picture itself. You get the idea.
There's just
the shoes on the mat, the whole thing.
The shoes on the mat is like, well, even though we're off the mat, so to speak, not really sweating and putting an ankle band on, and we're not red or green anymore. We still very much have this wrestler's mentality. And this wrestler's mentality really, really is it's a win-win situation all the time.
Right.
Whenever we wrestle somebody, their first mistake was being in our weight class. That was their first mistake. The second mistake was putting their ankle band on and wrestling us. And so how do we make this transition between the mat and our everyday life? And actually, I'd like to read something that I ran into just the other day, and it really, really transitions well over to what we're talking about. And just bear with me for a second.
You guys, just know I had no idea this guy was going to tell me this background tonight. And I took him to a grave of Ben Yehoyada, the soul of Mashiach in Sfat. And then he starts unloading this wrestler stuff on me. And we have a big wrestling discussion. And I realized this guy is teaching Job. This is the Job class. I said, you want to teach Job time? I'm trying to get the people in the group to finally stand up and give their account. And he just understood the whole Job approach. So that's why I'm turning it over tonight to my new good friend here, Aviezer Sanchez, because he's going to give his rendition of a transition from a wrestler mentality into a study of Torah, which is, crushed dreams and hopes, right? You guys know my story, 1 or 2, right? Of what my dreams got crushed and I stopped pointing the finger and blaming, right? We know my story. Finding the wisdom was the end goal, 1 or 2, right? About finding the wisdom. So we sat and discussed for a good couple hours finding that wisdom, right? All of the things that I've been teaching you guys the last couple weeks about my wrestler experience, I realized it really is a true wisdom because he understood. He's doing his own thing. So I'm going to, maybe I'll interject a little bit just to help, but he's going to just, he's giving his account and it's just authentic. And so here's a good case in point. Not every day you have someone in Sfat drop by. Former wrestler, caliber wrestler has got the wisdom to convey in the mold of the class. So I hope you guys are good with it. I think it's a good opportunity. I know I'm learning a lot. So he has my full support on this. And I hope you can give him your support too. So go ahead.
So here's this story. Once the Chofetz Chaim, when he was already an old man in his 90s, was encountered by the Yetzer Hara as he was about to get out of bed to start the morning prayers on a very cold winter day very early in the morning. The Yetzer Hara said to him, "You're an old, tired man, and you have served Hashem all your life, from early in the morning till late at night. It is very cold today. Don't you think that you should deserve a bit more sleep and rest in your warm bed?" And the Chofetz Chaim answered him, "You Yetzer Hara, are described in the Zohar as a king who is old and foolish. Now you are older than I, and yet you are here already, so early on this very cold winter morning, and you are telling me to stay in bed." I think the idea here, what I understand, is that you never get your hand raised. Even in your 90s, you're still a wrestler. Off the mat, old, you can't even, you're having trouble, you can't shoot a single leg no more duck unders, no more chain wrestling. But yet it's the same wrestling match. It never is over. The idea then is that it's a constant push. It's a constant push to always be having that wrestler's mentality of keeping the pressure on your opponent, never letting up. So the idea then is you never have your hand raised. So you never ever really win. You're in constant preparation mode. Here's another story. There's a man by the name of Dan Gable. Dan Gable was a wrestler for the U.S. He won the Olympic gold in the 80s, I believe. But before he won the Olympics, he won this Pan Am Games. And the very next day, instead of taking the day off, like we're seeing what the Yetzer Hara told this rabbi, like, relax, take the day off. You've done a great job. You got the gold medal. Dan Gable didn't take the day off. The very next day, he was out and he was running in still preparation, still running. I think that's what Rabbi is what he's trying to teach us. Is that we never really win. We're always pushing forward. We're always trying to be better. We're always trying to reach a certain level. And if the day, God forbid, that we think that we got our hands raised and we win, then there's arrogance, there's pride. And we know what the Torah says about arrogance and pride. There's no room for it. So as soon as we have that idea, that arrogance and pride, we lose. We've lost the match already. By saying we already won, we're really actually losing. So
that's also what I just interject. That's why I don't get gear. And I don't ever claim I will ever get gear. The day I stand up on Facebook and say, or wherever, "Oh man, I got it. I got gear. Guys, I'm done." All right, it's Rashi, Avodah Zarah 64b, third opinion. That's all it ever was. I am the gear master. Hand raised, I won. Everybody else is wrong. Everyone else failed and is wrong. What's going to happen to me? But literally, and I'm asking you too, what's going to happen to me? Tomorrow, someone's going to stand up and say, "What about the Bob Jones, the Rishon opinion, and Tractate Psachim?" Now I got a challenge. Ego's going to say, "I already won. Go away. I'm already the champion. I already gave myself the belt. I am the best ever." You can't. There's always another opponent. That's why in wrestling it's a fallacy. The sport of wrestling is a fallacy. There's always another opponent ready to take it on. So either you're constantly proving you're the best, which we're not doing. We left that behind. You got to drop the match and realize you never win. Ever. Constant preparation.
So this idea of whenever we're off the mat, I have an injury. I hurt my neck wrestling. I'm still competitive. I still want to be competitive. But even then, I mean, even though I'm not competing literally for a gold medal or saying I'm better than you, I have a better technique, we're because we have, I say we who study Torah, who love Hashem, who love his laws, we're on a different level than this guy Rulon Gardner and Dan Gable. We're wrestling for something that's greater than the Olympics, that's greater than all this. I used to coach wrestling professionally. I say professionally because I got paid for it. I coached wrestling before that, but at any rate, my point with this is that once one of these days, I knew that there's more beyond wrestling. I was in the wrestling room and we're grinding hard and everybody's sweating and I'm sweating because I wrestled a few rounds with the kids. And I'm watching these kids just absolutely beat each other up. I mean, just there's blood. This kid's eye gets split open and, they take him to the trainer, but everybody else doesn't even blink an eye. They actually think it's cool because he's bleeding and, he's showing off his cut. And I mean, they're grinding. And I'm on my knee and I'm looking at everybody sweat. And I get sad. I get sad because they're wrestling for something that's material, for a hand race, for to be a state champion or to place at the state championships or to get that scholarship to that college that they really, really want. And really at the end of it, I've won my state championships and where's my gold medal now? It's in my mom's house somewhere in a drawer. I have no idea where.
The video. It's just a box.
It's somewhere there. It's somewhere there. However, the wrestling match that we have, it's like with the rabbi who was very, very old. It's constant. It's a constant thing. There's a saying in the wrestling world is embrace the grind. This rabbi was embracing the grind for 90 years. And I believe that the true champion, the true champion is a humble champion. He doesn't even think he's a champion. Why? Because he gets up and he goes, quote unquote, running.
He never gives himself that breath of I am the champion, because that's already the pride of I arrived. And we're saying in Torah, you never can arrive. There's no such thing as arriving.
No.
It's a false concept.
Right.
You don't arrive at Torah and say, I've done it. Uh-huh. What would you do?
So because we all know that no one is perfect, so then if we say we've arrived, we've said we've reached perfection, that is, there's no room for that statement. There's no room for that thought. Nobody's perfect. So when...
By the way, that in wrestling room wisdom, that is the secret, right? Getting better every day. That's the mantra, right? You gotta get better every day. Why was I horrible? But why did you probably hit a wall eventually, right? Because you stop getting better every day. Eventually, you don't have it. When you found the wisdom today, right?
Yeah.
We had to dig in to get that deep level of wisdom. You got to live that every day. Eventually, you just can't recover. Yeah.
Well, the thing with us is that whenever we do have these quote unquote failures, this guy's wiping his tears off his face, and the difference with that is that our emunah, our faith, is in Hashem, and Hashem takes us from strength to strength. We're not losers. Right. We read Rabbi Katz and I read a quote today where it says that, challenge is inevitable. We're going to be challenged every day to the day we die, to the day we pass on. But failure is optional. So the idea is defeat is optional. Defeat is optional. And really, the defeat is optional whenever we say we've arrived. We never arrive. Arrive. This is a wisdom that I just learned tonight, that I figured that one day Rabbi can vouch for this, is that I really believe that someday I could put the Yetzer Hara in a submission hold and say, yeah, I've arrived. And that's the reason why I never really got it, because I was wrong. I never will arrive. And I will be like the rabbi at 9 years old, getting up early so I can go and run because I didn't win. I am not a champion. I've got to still prepare for that match, for that daily day match. This wisdom that Rabbi is trying to talk about, connecting wrestling with our day-to-day life. It's a wisdom that you really have to really you have to give it some thought. You really got to give it some brain power. He and I sat there outside of I forget the place.
Ben Yehoyada.
Yeah. And it's a really, really powerful place. I didn't know we were in such a really powerful place. Even now, as we're sitting here, a few feet away from the actual place of Shem and Aver, it's still just mind-boggling. But it makes sense that we're in these places and we're reaching this. We're both reaching, trying to understand the fact that the wrestling match is never over. This guy's leaving his shoes in the middle of the mat saying it's over. Our shoes never come off.
Right.
They always stay on. Our wrestling band, our ankle bands are always on. Who's winning points? Who's scoring the points? The Yetzer Hara or the Yetzer Tov? The difference is that, like I'm saying, is whenever I was kneeling on that mat and I was watching those guys wrestle, I got sad because if we were just to put that much effort, all of us, young and old, into fighting day in and day out so that we can do chesed, so that we can do mitzvot, so that we can love our neighbors, love ourselves, so that we can really, truly do the mitzvah day in and day out. Dan Gable gold medal is nothing. Really, that day when I had that revelation, so to speak, I knew I was probably in the wrong place and dedicating myself to the wrong thing.
That's the wound. Now, speak from that wound. That's what this class is about. It's about using the wrestling like that. Just identify that wound. You just now identified the wound, right?
Yeah.
Now you got a problem. Now you got to transition.
So
because you're in this guy's world. We're all there. We were there. Now you got to come. You're coming into Torah, which is it's right Torah, but how do you release from Rulon Gardner's world? How do you let go and not blame and not point fingers? Whatever it is that you had to do, you know what I'm saying? To let the realization it's not what they said it was or blah blah blah. The main goal is how do you transition in a peaceful state of mind and in a successful state of mind?
I think we have to accept. The way, accept like, you know what? Okay, so I told a story when I was at national tournament that I was winning. I was winning round after round, and I was advancing in the tournament. And I happened to get pinned, which is like a TKO in boxing. It's horrible. I just got knocked out. Or it's actually a KO, not a TKO. Okay. A TKO is when a referee stops it. A KO is when you're just lights out on the mat, and that's what happened to me. And if we were boxing, and it does not feel good. It does not feel good to lose. It's
wrestling's real.
It's real sweat.
And that's what I was telling them. At 16, it sounds silly, David Katz's fantasy wrestling dream. It's a real thing. And I tell them, right, that all the things that they did, they had, I want to be the greatest singer. I want to be a great ballet dancer, right? The greatest pianist. It hurts when you find out it's over. For whatever reason, when God simply closed the door and said no. Everyone got pinned. There's a pin in everyone. Everyone has their pin. But there's an element to chime in.
No, you're fine. It's it does not feel good. But the thing about a wrestler's mentality, let's go down a notch. The thing about the wrestler's mentality is that when you do get pinned, you do decide to retire and put your shoes on the mat, you never really step away from the sport. Whether you become a voice for the sport to help rid the sport of dumb politics or dumb rules or something like that, you're always involved. Why? Because the love of the sport.
Right.
The love of the sport is just so profound.
Right.
Some people just don't get it.
Right. And I had to come to terms with that love. That's what I it took me a long time to embrace the love. I couldn't accept it because it burned me so bad, the sport. But yet I love it. It was a cognitive dissonance. I hate you, but I secretly love you. Yeah. And I'm lying to myself, saying every day how I hate you. One day I told, and this is what I taught them, right? I said, you know what? I don't think I hate you anymore. I think there were reasons why I thought I hated you, and it turns out I really, really love you.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of wisdom in that love, and I think that the world can shine from that wisdom. That's my take on it, right? And you're saying you just straight up love the sport. It's a love. Everyone has their own love for it.
There are his ups and downs with love, and love relationships and whatnot. But the thing with wrestling is that even though it hurts so bad, you still love the sport. You still want to be involved with the sport. I'm still involved with the sport. I still do it. It's not necessarily what Rulon Gardner is doing, that style. I'm doing another style of wrestling. But yet, I'm still involved. And even when I'm old and gray and I can't wrestle anymore, I'm still going to be there, with just being my body there. I'm supporting the sport. Maybe I might coach a couple of, nights or something like that by just sitting in a chair and pointing out technique or whatnot. But you're always involved, always involved. You never really hang up your shoes, so to speak. Taking and Rabbi Katz and I clicked this way because we were wrestlers. We sweated, we ran, we lost weight. I lost the most weight I lost was, I think it was 10 pounds. And I didn't eat from Sunday afternoon until Tuesday evening.
Fantasizing about ice cubes?
Everything was food. Everything was food. And I mean, literally everything was food. I didn't watch TV because every commercial was food. And so for the love of the sport, to love to get my hand raised and so that I can stand on the first place podium and have that gold medal pinned or hung around my neck, that's what I had to do. I was willing to put myself through the worst possible situations, but I knew that if I were to go through all of that and at the end of it, it was going to make me a champion, that's exactly what I would do. Now, you take all these experiences that what Rabbi is speaking about, that wrestling takes you through these incredibly highs. I've won some tournaments, Baruch Hashem, because he's just given me the ability and everything to do it. I was born with the character to get hit in the face and like it and want to hit back even harder because that's just what happened, measure for measure. That's how I saw it. Really, I thought, oh, you're going to hit me? Okay, I'm going to hit you even harder. Yeah. And I was just born with that. But the idea, I think, is that whenever you go through all these beautiful highs, well, just like everything, it's got its counterpart, which is really, really low lows. And one of my low lows was when I was I've had several, but the one that hits the hardest, and I was telling Rabbi that I've had several conversations with grown men, married, kids, companies, they got all this stuff going on. But yet whenever they talk about wrestling, you start, you open up old wounds. And I promise if you...
Right, and that's where I discovered my meditation. It was a real, bona fide old wound that can reopen. And I saw it as an opportunity to say, this is a gift from God. Because it's benign. No one's going to get offended by my wrestling fantasies. It's like it doesn't it doesn't hurt anybody else, but the pain is real for me. Pain is real for you. And everybody has their little gift of God, fantasy pain, right? You know, Billy said no to me at the dance in high school. Whatever it is, you're Michigas. Everyone's got their Michigas. I failed my driver's test 20 times. Whatever it is you did. You know, I studied that test. My dad bought me a car. Whatever you have, it's a gift from God to open that wound and let the blood flow and learn how you transition in and out of it. And just my personal thing is wrestling. And Guillermo, you know, whatever. It just resonated with it. So that's why he's here. But it's a true wisdom. And I want to ask you then, for the record, yeah? What you are great at in wrestling, is it safe to say that standing on a podium with a medal, was it really that? Or was it inside knowing the real wisdom worked? Because that's what carries over in the transition, is wisdom.
It's the wisdom. I mean, sure, the gold medal, everybody sees the before and after picture, and the after picture is like, oh my gosh, really, you won the gold medal? Mm-hmm. And it really isn't that. It's that wisdom that you hit that perfect shot and you finished, and then you kept driving into him, and you broke your opponent. You felt, I have literally felt, I've taken this, you know, there was a defending state champion. He was a senior and I was a junior. And he and I met at the it was the dual state championships. It was team against team, and it was the finals match, and it was my high school against this other the high school I wrestled at against another high school, and I was wrestling the defending state champ, and I had taken him down one time, and he had some fight, and he pushed back and whatever. He did his technique. I don't know if I let him go or whatnot, but we got back to our feet, and I took him down again hard, and something happened. He got away or whatever. I let him go. And then the third time I took him down really hard, and that's when I felt an exhale come out of his body.
Right.
I knew at that moment I broke him.
So it was a wisdom.
It was a wisdom. It was something that I knew. It was something that I knew I had him. Right. I was inside. Right. And at that point, I didn't turn him loose.
Right. So that's what I call being inside, right? Or as I teach in the Shem series of wisdom, right? You hack the code. You hack the system, right? The guy it was a wisdom. It was a hack.
The hacking was it's brutal. It's brutal. It's wrestling. Wrestling it's a combative sport. And the way I hacked into him was I took him down 3 times, right, really, really hard with no mercy.
Right.
Absolutely no mercy. Now, here's what this kid should have done, because we're talking about bouncing back.
Right.
How do we get this ideas of
right, but let me just fill them in on what you're saying. One of the wisdoms that, and again, pay attention for Shem wisdom here. This is not just I talk about wrestling. Pay attention to the wisdom, right? The navom, the words, the matter between the matter. This is not, right? Pay attention to the wisdom. The wisdom is, and Guillermo and I discussed this tonight. I'm going to just back up 1 second. I want to give him the meme, okay? Now listen to this meme. He and I, he was asking me how wrestling wisdom can be transferred into Torah wisdom. You with me, 1 or 2? I know it's a little strange with the guest speaker and everything, but just if you guys with me, is it cool? You hearing the back and forth? Is it okay? I think it's an interesting night. All right. We saw a meme. I pulled up just a random meme on Google Images, and it said, which one was it?
Was it about the faith or?
Yeah. I'm going to paraphrase. Pride is knowing you got here. Having faith is knowing how far you can go. You guys think you understand that? 1 or 2? So here's how I broke it down. Remember the Lehavin, break it down? So we got to break it down, right? And you should know what that language means. Break it down, break them down. Mm-hmm. Same thing. It's the same wisdom. Break them down. Near side breakdown, break them down. It's the same thing. You see what I'm saying? That's the wisdom they're giving you. When they tell the wrestler break them down, really it means break them down.
Literally.
Pick them apart, break them down. And you see the good wrestlers, that's what they do. They break them down piece by piece, piece by piece. It's at that point, it's not even combative. When you watch someone like, oh, he gets up, okay, now we transition to this. Oh, he wants to go over there. Oh, now it's just a constant fluid transition, break it down. Like crowd control. Just break it down. So I explained it to him, the meme. Here's the mentality, right? I'm gonna wrestle, and I'm saying to myself, you know what? I know how hard I worked. I'm in my mind, I'm training to be, let's say, a gold medal champion. Okay? Now, in your world, call it the greatest sweater sewer ever. Right, Loretta? Right? I'm going to be the world's greatest sewer ever. Gold medal. Whatever you guys are doing, okay? In your own Nourishkeit that you're trying to, your own wound thing. With me, 1 or 2. Just pick your thing in your mind. Whatever you are going to be, whatever stupid story it was from youth. Now, I prepared for that. Honest to goodness, let's say I prepared for it. What are the chances that this guy from Baker High School, okay, a goofy kid, lanky kid, moppy haircut, right? What are the chances that he's on the same mental preparation as me? Just on a statistic level. I am seriously training to be the best ever. What are the chances I'm going to find another kid like that? Not good, right? Okay, so he sees me, and I'm wearing my, USA outfit, endorsed by Dan Gable, Adidas, right? They signed me, whatever, doesn't matter. And everyone knows I'm the guy. Everyone, this is a fictitious story, by the way, right? Everyone knows that. I mean, they're like, that's Dave Katz over there. I think Dan Gable learned how to wrestle from David Katz before David Katz was even born, they say. Right? Now, this guy wrestling me, his attitude is going to be, I'm just glad to be here. Right? If I can even take David Katz down, I'm pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. Maybe I can even score a win. Maybe I can catch him off guard and pin him right away. You guys hear the ratio? What's going to happen? That kid, he has set a limit for himself, 1 or 2. He has set his ceiling. I'm just happy to be here, folks, 1 or 2. I'm thinking how far I'm going to go. Now, what does he have to do to beat me? And remember, you don't have to limit to wrestling, whatever it is. Okay, getting the deal, blah, blah, blah. That's right. I am so prepared to get to him to crack my code. He has to be more prepared than I am. You understand that wisdom? I'm prepared to go through death. I'm that prepared. That means my body is reacting to that wisdom. For him I'm not talking philosophy here. I'm talking real physical reality. I am literally going to put my body through whatever it takes to get there. It's called determination, right? Loretta, you've taken your kids to school, correct? Have you ever been sick in the morning that your kids had to go to school? Is there any chance your kids are not going to school the day you're sick? Now, a man in your position, except for the present company, what would a man say on the day that he's sick and it's his day to take the kids to school? Honey, can you take the kids to school today? I got a fever. I'm not feeling too good. 1 or 2. So do you see how in life it's a real reality? The woman that takes her kids to school, it is a non-issue. She can be missing limbs. That car is being driven to school on time. And I've been there. I have to do it with my kids. The man, I got a hangnail. I can't be driving the steering wheel. I think cops pull people over for that. Can you take over for me today, honey? He's dead. And if he thinks he's going to argue with his wife, he's done. He is done. He's just happy to be here. Hey, you just call me if you need anything. I'm here. She's already won. So in the wrestling analogy, that kid is done. Yeah. For him to win, he has to concoct a better wisdom than me. He has to literally believe he is the Messiah of wrestling. and believe it and prepare for it more than I'm prepared to get my gold medal. And the irony is, wisdom adheres to the body. That's the miracle of wisdom. My body can do amazing things with Emunah. Right? Now, I don't have enough Emunah to think that I can compete today because I believe my cartilage in my knees are not so great. For me to believe beyond that is pretty miraculous. And God makes it that way because God doesn't want me thinking that I can compete at 37 and out of shape. But in theory, the body can do, and by the way, in fact, I just thought of this. Loretta, tell me if I'm wrong. Is that the secret of giving birth? There you go. She can't do it. It's physically impossible by the dimensions. But what is she going to say? No? Go back home? It's not time to come to this world, Junior? Go away? She has to say, hey, there's only one way through this. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. A man would say, you know what? He can stay inside, right? Not a problem. Not a problem. He can stay inside. Don't need to give birth. I remember when we brought Reuven home, I was prepared that he would never walk and never turn over. It's a lot easier. Let him stay in bed. He's a newborn. I can't be dealing with walking, opening cabinets and stuff. It's just a different mentality. All right. I introduced the topic. Go ahead. You were saying that where we were going to go?
About
well, defeat is not...
defeat is not optional.
Yeah.
Defeat is the quote said was it optional? And you know what? There is no option for failure. Failure, the word doesn't even exist in our vocabulary. You hear about this, but we're talking higher levels actually here. We're just with the gist that what I'm understanding from Rabbi is that we're just using wrestling as a vehicle to understand like this,
gain wisdom.
To gain wisdom, and the wisdom that we have is Torah. The Talmud Torah, like you're telling me.
Right.
That's
where the wisdom belongs.
That's where it belongs. And one thing that I learned tonight from Rabbi was that now that we have this wisdom, we haven't arrived. Now the next thing is to apply it to something. Now to literally put it into something and make it come into actual being. So whatever that is, splitting hairs into something.
Right.
And so everybody has their something. I've got mine. I've got to figure out how I'm going to apply this new wisdom that I'm learning from Rabbi. Just using this wrestling ideas and wisdom into something more practical than just, winning a gold medal. We're beyond that now. From what I understand is that this wrestling concepts and ideas is just the physical terms for something that's very high level spiritual things that actually are applicable into our everyday. And so what we want to do is learn how to bounce back from these pains, from like that missed gold medal, that 1 point that I needed to be an All-American. That stuff still hurts.
Right. That's the pain.
That's the pain. Well, what I learned from it is that what I learned tonight is that I never will arrive. I've always got to get up, just like Dan Gable, just like the Rabbi at 90 years old, get up and daven, get up and Torah study, and just put one foot in front of the other, head down, nose to the grindstone. And
there's no defeat.
There is no defeat.
Only the inevitable challenges of life.
Just going from strength to strength, from victory to victory. And the beauty that we, us who love Hashem, who have placed His Torah upon us, is that we're winners. In everything we do, we're winners. Even the failures, we learn from our failures. We cry sometimes. I know we go through little moments that we feel that we fail, but ultimately we turn absolutely everything over to Hashem. Hashem carries us. Hashem gives us that wisdom, that inner knowledge to be able to go above and beyond and realize that, ultimately those quote unquote mistakes are what make us go from that level to a higher level of winning. So when we talk about this losing in wrestling, you know, most good athletes, be it in whatever it is, they always say the same thing. They're sweating, they're bloody, or, you know, whatever, their tears are in their eyes, and they all say the same thing.
So tonight we saw that the meme didn't even acknowledge defeat. See, we as non-gold medal wrestlers, we thought there was defeat.
Yeah.
But when you study the wisdom of the guys that made it, the Enlightenment, there was no defeat. But they have that wisdom, but now what? It's going to die with them. But the transition is plugging it into Torah. It takes life. It's a seed now planted in the earth to grow. Because that wisdom in wrestling, it's a true wisdom, but it was only to get a gold medal. And so that's going to turn into a finger pointing and blame and negativity. At some point, it's going to sour and decay because it's not a holy thing. The infrastructure is not holy. And we didn't understand the wisdom when we were there. We just didn't. But you can go back when you're in Torah, into the old world, right? And you do the meditation and extract the wisdom that was true and plug it into the realm of Torah and holiness where it takes new life. So where let's say my bitterness was I didn't win. Right? I could have been a better wrestler. It's stupid. That's my fantasy. It's my pain. It's my bleeding. But studying, exactly, and it is sincere. But the pain that Guillermo's saying is, but we still love it. Right? There's something there. I can't just turn my back and say it was stupid. It wasn't holy. Therefore, it wasn't really me. It was you. See, this is where you got to face the facts. It was you. It still is you. You're a liar, and you still love it. So if it's let's call it idolatry, even not wrestling, maybe, but something, right? What is it you love about idolatry? How can you possibly love idolatry? How's that possible? You don't. It's not the idolatry that you love, but there was a wisdom in you, not in the cult that we were all part of, whatever it was, going to the prom, whatever it was. You feel slighted. Let's slow down a little bit. You feel slighted. Acknowledge it. Meditate. Open the wound. Go back and fix it. Fix it. Yeah, it was stupid. I wanted to win. Okay, I admit it. Okay, I wanted to win. Whatever it is. Whatever the thing you wanted. For me, I think I wanted the wisdom to work. I think that is what I wanted, you know? Because why did nothing I do work? And I got frustrated and, you know, my injury, right? And it didn't work. And I showed Guillermo here a video from the website that I tell you guys about. I know he knew the technique, but I pointed out that what you love, that's called wisdom. And that's what I didn't have. I was an idiot 16-year-old kid. That's the beauty of the meditation. The kids that were good were wise, but that wisdom is plugged into a let's call it a Avodah Zarah, right? Where's it going? A gold medal. The point is, like we said last night, connect the dots, Loretta. Connect the dots. Split the hairs. Yes, it's stupid to want to win. Yes, you tried. Yes, you felt pain. Yes, you loved it. All these dots. Just because some dots are nice, some are Avodah Zarah, some are unpleasant, some are angry, some are bitter, some are wonderful. That's your path. Is that not everyone's life here? Didn't you all have these moments and things? Maybe one or two. Didn't everybody have elements of life? So, are you out of that life now? Am I really thinking I'm going to go back to the mat? Are you really going to go back to high school? Can you go back?
It's over.
You can't go back. It's over. So should you let it go and make a shadow? No, because you still feel it. Stop being a liar. Stop lying to yourself. So what are you going to do? I'm going to acknowledge it and embrace it. You know what? I'm a wrestler. What can I do? What can I do? I actually believe that it's in me. I can't change it. Right? A piano player cannot undo the fact that his fingers are curved to play piano. He cannot change that fact. The natural feeling of goodness on the fingers that stroke the keys of a piano. So what I've done and what I showed Guillermo tonight, and I'm glad it was the first time I was able to connect the synapses on this with somebody else. We brought up a meme. And remember, enlightenment exists in every sector of the universe. I can bring up any successful person right now on the internet on a quote and show you how that person's enlightened. So we brought up a random quote on Google Images. And I said, I'm going to tell the story, yeah? I said, let's wrestle, me and you right now. He said, okay. I said, stare at this meme, and I want you to crack it. I want you to get it. I knew he wasn't going to get it because people aren't trained to get in. It's just that's Torah. That's the Torah wrestling. Right? That's what Torah wrestling is. It's getting in. If you don't get in Ger, you don't get Ger. But if you get in there, don't be afraid to jump in and put your head in there. You'll get it. You got it tonight, right, Ger?
Yeah.
So he got Ger tonight. Again, I used wrestling imagery to give it to him. So we looked at the meme, and I taunted him with wrestling taunts. I said, you're already done. You're already lost. I knew I was getting to him because he's a wrestler. He doesn't want to hear that. I said, you lost. I said, I feel it. Now, what was the interesting thing was, by looking at a wrestling quote, I felt through Torah wisdom what it was to be inside and aware, because it was a wrestling mentality. So I know, it wasn't like it was a holy discussion, okay? It was wrestling, so it was very limited and biased. But I knew he was out. And you felt like you were out. And he was giving a half-baked answer because you believed that defeat was possible. And I manipulated you to believe that defeat was possible because I knew you already lost. You had already gave into it. I took the advantage to show you, then I'll just tell you, you lost. Because I knew I didn't lose. Then I said, now stop. Get in there. Go get that spark of wisdom. I've got that spark. I've redeemed that spark of my soul to release my pain, to say, you know what? Okay, I accept reality of my past, where I've come from, my pain, but there's still beauty to it, and the wisdom lives, and it's a beautiful wisdom. And then you can allow the flow to pass through your life and not point fingers and blame. It's no longer negative. It's actually fun. It's a alternative to being serious all the time with saying Ger this, Ger told, right? Okay, I like to watch a video of wrestling in my spare time when I'm eating my Cheerios. And I think you got that opportunity to get in there and see it from a different perspective. The Torah wrestling perspective. Because he was asking me, what brought this on, how do I wrestle and win in Torah? I said, you don't. What do you mean? You don't. You just are wise. In Torah, you just get the wisdom. He went in there and he got that. And I felt him come back on the mat, picked himself up, threw out defeat. The guy did tshuva. He went back into his past. Am I right? You went back. He said, that's what it is. I didn't know that's what it was. That's what it is. What
I was wrong. I was stuck on the top half of the quote, which I was happy with my hand raised that right. I'm sitting across Rabbi David Katz in a really holy spot, and I'm thinking I have arrived.
Right.
And I'm over here thinking, what is it do I really need to do to finally, put this Yetzer Hara in a pinning combination and always have it under just bam. It's and well, just like arrogance, it's it's hot air. It's not true. And what Rabbi helped me understand through what we're using the wrestling and all of this and being defeated is that you never arrive. You never ever arrive. It's a constant. You have to actually go into those moments of pain, those moments where the win or those moments that you think, why did it just didn't I just wasn't able to do it. Why? And because of that, I'm here now. And
I made you get in there. Your mind, you allowed yourself to win.
I had to allow myself to feel the pain.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And
that's it. Go in the wound, feel the pain.
And you know, and I lift weights sometimes, and you hear this weird this weird term that you know in wrestling or lifting weights or not, is like feel the burn.
Right.
That's pretty much, you feel the pain, sometimes some people don't want to feel that.
That is the crux of this class. Period. That is it. And wrestling is just a good vehicle for me to explain myself.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a wrestler to get this, right? It's just allow yourself to feel that pain, to go in the wound, right? I only did it with Guillermo. I knew what he was paying. I've gone through that pain. I know that pain. I know it. I've gone in there through the side of Torah. It was beautiful to see you go into the pain, embrace the pain, open the wound. Open the wound. I told him, get your mind in there and get it. And he got the wisdom. That wisdom is what exists in the holy world.
Outside comfort is what.
See, in Torah wisdom, there is no defeat. That's what I told Guillermo. There was no chance we were walking away tonight without him getting that. Not happening. It doesn't exist.
It's optional. And you know what? That doesn't exist.
That did not exist. It doesn't exist. We made a choice that we are not walking away till we get this. Because it exists. This guy said it. Therefore, it is a reality. It's not fake. We know wrestling's real. There are people that don't lose. It's a reality.
True.
Right? They make a goal in the statement, I'm not losing. And there are guys that have never lost. That's why wrestling is a little bit more than a sport.
Yeah.
It's a philosophy. Because you can program your body to do things. And that's really what winning is. It's not about, oh, I beat you and I won. It's saying the programming works. That's Bina, right? You're programming your body. You're putting it through a regimen and a system, and you're saying, if wisdom works, then this should work. Right? If I crack the code, then it should work. And in Torah, it's the same principle as in wrestling. There's no, and guys, please hear me on this. And I made you get this side too. There's no such thing as I don't get Ger. Even though you'll never get Ger. There's no such thing as the thing in front of you. You know, Rashi's definition of Ger. Tosfos is Rashi, or whatever definition of Ger. Ger Toshav Jubilee, Ger Toshav not Jubilee. Whatever I put in front of you, bringing it from the Torah itself, is there a chance that you will get it or not? What is the main way? Is there a chance of saying, I don't get it? One or two. Can you say, I don't get it? No. By definition, you must not give yourself the option of defeat. That's the transition also. In the old world where you were, for me it was wrestling, whether it was the church, whether it was atheism, whether it was whatever, being a hippie, whatever it was, you gave yourself an option of defeat, true or false.
Yeah.
One or two. We gave ourselves the permission to fail. That's why it was a cult. And the guys that were successful, they will fail eventually. Because it's not the true arena. But they have principles of wisdom of success. But that's not the cult. That's what attracts people to the cult. If wrestling wasn't wisdom, I have no interest in bloodying my nose. Thank you very much. Right? No interest. I have no interest in getting tired and working hard and sweating. I don't like it without wisdom. But guess what? You don't like anything without wisdom. Right? I'm a mother to 2 kids. Every man in this room probably thinks, oh, man, I would hate to do this. 1 or 2, guys. How many guys want to change diapers for me? 1 or 2. With wisdom, it's brilliant. With wisdom, there's nothing that goes bad, right, Mishlei class people? And that's the transition. I want to hit on that note here for a second, too. The transition is start to love wisdom. I hated wrestling for what it did bad to me. But I discovered the wisdom's real. I proved it to you tonight in the video we saw. Wisdom was real. And you can still love wisdom. Wisdom is wisdom. But bring it into the holy. That's what Guillermo's saying. How do I bring it into the holy? I want to be the Yetzer Hara forever. No, that was the shtus that you were burned by.
That's that wrestler's mentality is getting your hand raised, but we're not talking about really wrestling. We're really not.
Right.
It's the just going forward, using the wisdom that we learned
that
in
meme
wrestling.
we saw, that the author, inverted commas, of the meme, did he get his hand raised? Yes.
Yeah, he got his hand raised.
But was that what we got out of it? No.
Well, because we're on a different level.
That's it.
We're studying something that's more concrete, that goes through and through different realms. Like this guy, that's these realms that he's walking away from, and the thing that we're talking about, the wisdom and going into pain and learning the wisdom through the pain. All it is what the pain makes us stronger. The pain makes us want to bounce back and say, well, the Torah tells us that. Right. That Hashem is the truth, his mitzvot is the truth. This is the truth. There is no option for failure. If you're with Hashem, you don't lose. If you don't lose. I'm here in Israel. I'm looking around, and I'm telling Rabbi, I see pictures, like some people are showing pictures of back home, and they have like all these great sceneries, pictures, and so forth. And like for them, that's their hand raised. That's arrogance.
Right.
And over here, he's just like, well, there's not this. It's not like Sweden and this the other. It's like, well, okay, but you know what? It's because we're not accepting it. We're pushing forward. We're developing. We're going forward. We're going from greatness to greatness.
Right. The meme that we cracked, there's another meme to come. That wasn't the last meme.
Mm.
You don't say, oh, I got wrestling. I got the meme. Done. Move on. Next topic. No. You're never done wrestling.
Ever.
Because you're never done getting the wisdom. I just happen to get wisdom from wrestling. You might get it from wherever you want. Ultimately, it's got to come from Torah. But here's the deal like this too. Ready? Let's not forget. This is not a whatever. Wrestling's in the Torah. Jacob wrestled the angel, right? Now, whatever you do, it's in the Torah too if you look deep enough, right? But isn't that an ironic twist of fate, right? The one thing that I was burned about, people say, oh, it's barbaric and brutal and dang and ding and dong. My friends, it's in the Torah. It's a profound thought. It is actually in the Torah. So it lends itself, the wisdom. I mean, how do we understand Jacob wrestled the angel? All I'm saying is your life circumstances and experiences are given to you by God. Don't let it go to waste. Even though you're bitter and finger point and it didn't work out, and I wish it would have, and it was a high, like you said, and it was a low. Go in that wound. Let that wound yield its wisdom, because it will.
It brings up a good point, because we just heard this interview with this kid. He's literally a kid. I mean, he's a little baby face on this kid,
right.
But he was he admitted it, and that's one thing that makes him a champion, is that he admitted the fact that his head was in the clouds because he was winning big tournament after big tournament. And actually, and every champion will say this, every athlete will say this, you don't learn a lot from your wins.
Right.
You learn more from your losses.
That's it.
And
Warren Buffett said he learned all of banking from the biggest mistake he ever did in stocks. I mean,
but that's revisiting the pain.
That's it.
That's revisiting and opening those wounds.
So I was a horrible wrestler. I didn't want to lose. I didn't want the pain. That's where I was horrible. I was afraid of the pain. You can't be afraid of the pain, right? You're. I can hear it. You're still afraid you're going to get pinned. You got pinned. Those guys never got afraid of getting pinned.
And
you can't be afraid of getting pinned.
I was telling Rabbi that I was brought up with the mentality of fear of losing, and so I'd wrestle with a fear of not to lose, which is a very, very different mentality to where you wrestle as a winner.
Right.
you're stepping on the mat already as a winner. Defeat is not an option. So,
but look at the psychology again of that. Really pay attention to this. It's very subtle. I am not a loser. Imagine that. If you really believe I am not, I don't know the word loser so much. I am not of defeat. I'm not defeated. Okay? I am not defeated. Now, that doesn't make me always right. Doesn't make me always winning. All it means is, as we saw in the meme, the alternative is life gives an inevitable challenge. All that's saying, from a wisdom, remember, split hairs. Don't be obtuse and say, oh, I never get defeated. I win all the time. No one said that. I am not defeated, which is the flip side of I embraced life's inevitable challenge. Rabbi Katz, you're wrong. You confronted me tonight, right? How do you do this whole Ger thing? There's no Jubilee. Guillermo here hit me up with that. How do you get off on this whole Ger thing where there's no Jubilee? Well, did you sense any defeat coming from me on that one?
No.
None. Now, right and wrong wasn't the issue. I knew you're a wrestler. You're going to give me a very good challenge. I didn't give you I know more than you. Go away, Guillermo. Bleh. I gotta rise to the challenge. I think I did.
Yeah.
Gave him wrestling analogies of different styles of wrestling. I don't know if it worked. Yeah, I hope it did.
Well, I think wrestling applies to everything.
I think that's too.
But
that's the thing. Rise to the challenge. Right? To not be defeated just means rise to the challenge. What happens if Guillermo said, Rabbi, X and Y, Z brought a literal written proof David Katz is wrong because, you know what? I guess I was a little ahead of myself, arrogant. I'm wrong. I lost. I got beat. Whatever it is. Now, maybe I have to meditate about this in 20 years from now. I don't know. But the point is, rise to the challenge. How do I know Guillermo's not just happy to be here? If he's just happy to be here, I have faith to where I'm going. Right? That's what wrestling taught me tonight and working with Guillermo. Forget about you. It's the guy across from you that's got the psychological disorder, not you. Right?
Yeah.
He has the issue. The flimsy kid with the moppy haircut, he is just happy to be here. My dad thinks I'm a wimp, right? My older brother beats me up. My sister flushes my head down the toilet. Man, I'm just happy to be alive wrestling for Baker High School. If I don't say, let's say now my story is my dad was a gold medal champion, and I endeavor to be a gold medal champion. By the laws of dignity, if I don't believe that I am putting the work in, and this kid is just happy to be here, I am not in reality. By real wisdom, there's no possible way of defeat here. This has nothing to do with ego or winning and losing. It is simply reality. That kid is praying to God that you don't break his neck. Just by his mishigas, it's not you want to break his neck. He is scared to death. His dad is gonna, yell at him. You lost another match, kid. Now go out and mow the lawn. That's his reality. It is a world. My reality is, when will Ohio State sign me to a full ride scholarship? How is that a possible match? It's not. That's really what wrestling is. It's a stance. Double that, right? It's a stance of truth. Rabbi David Katz, did you study Ger? Do you really believe that you've studied enough Ger to make an argument that no, it's not a contradiction about the Jubilee Ger? Yes, I believe I put that work in. Have you put the work in about the Ger to make a stand you're wrong?
No.
So you were just happy to be here to make that statement?
No, if I was, no, because I'm still searching.
Right.
I'm still searching.
Right. So
that's the thing is like, yeah, I'm unsatisfied. I feel like I'm not, I need more. I need more. And just like in wrestling is like, you know, you're good, but you feel like you could get better.
Right.
Yeah. I'm in good shape. You know,
Right.
I can run up, stairs a lot of times, but you know what? What about, I just need to get better. So now I need to put you on my back and run up the stairs.
Do you think you made me a better wrestler, Rabbi, by your challenge to me today?
I think using wrestling terminology,
I had to get better.
You're only as good as your workout partner.
That's what I'm saying. Right. I didn't try to hurt you.
No, it's trying to teach me something.
I'm trying to teach you. And I had to get right. You presented life gave an inevitable challenge. Right? Defeat is not an option. Therefore, if I care about you, I don't want you to feel defeated. Right? You got ripped off, Guillermo. You're in a bad crowd. Go away from them. Did I tell you that? No. What I'm saying is I got to rise up. If I claim, and this is what I tell you guys, I told myself all the time, you claim to be a rabbi, Rabbi Katz, you claim to be a rabbi, then please be a rabbi. Please stand up and be a rabbi. Show Guillermo in his language what is the problem. Don't speak, well, Rashi says a Getashiv is if he does Echon Avelis. If he does Echon Avelis, he did Ayin Vaizira. But it seems that with the Vaizira, Taisus the Kasha and she did Rash, then we have the other Echon Halachaday. Did you understand that? Yeah. No. So speak the language.
Yeah.
That's what's frustrating about Facebook. It's tempting to speak their language that don't get it. I know it makes me look a little bit bad sometimes. But the alternative is Rashi ties like the Rush, which means you don't get it. Can't do that. In wrestling, you don't beat up someone bad just because he is, to try to hurt the guy because you're better than him. If that's the, what I'm saying. There's sportsmen. I mean, it's a brotherhood at the end of the day. Logan Sleeper gave an interview. Just because the chicken wing hurts doesn't mean you try to break the guy's shoulder.
It might feel like it.
Right, but he's not trying to break the guy's shoulder.
I'm just trying to get the pin.
Right. And in no way, shape, and form is he actually thinking he hurt the kid.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist.
Not part of it.
Right. You see his interviews. It does not exist. He knows. That's like saying, hey, I have a baseball bat. You know what I'm going to do? Hit myself in the head with a baseball bat. I might feel good. No one does that. So there's a lot of life lessons of wisdom to learn. For me, Guillermo, wrestling is just an avenue of personal meditation. Again, I hope it's just about 10:30. I hope you guys got an interesting kick out of Guillermo. Give Esther Cohen a round of applause.
And I really hope that I was able to share something that was worthwhile. I mean, I was I really didn't know I was going to say anything or share anything.
I made him do it.
But Rabbi Katz asked me, I was just like, well, I'm really nobody, but, I'll do it. I'll share what I have. And if it's to help everybody and we're just like in the wrestling community, whatever, if you want to throw me around to help yourself get better so you can win, well, guess what? Use my body, throw me around. That makes you better. So
I told him this is what the class is. It's not meant to be me giving my story all the time. I told you guys that, right? And so I finally found someone with a similar story to mine. And I was he not perfect for the class tonight? Give him a yes or no. I told him this is exactly what we do every week. He just happened to come over the night of class, And he's using the same transition, it's the same story. God sent us a shliach, a devar mitzvah, to really give he gave credibility to the whole Job class we're doing, right? Because I concocted it after years of just kind of fermenting this thing in my mind, and I finally found someone on the other side of the world, so to speak, that really gets Ruan Gardner's picture here, just what it is, what I'm trying to convey.
Well, I appreciate that, I appreciate that I'm not, saying that I'm a nobody, and I'm happy that I was able to contribute something. This concept that Rabbi is introducing, it is very new. It is difficult, but it was like he's saying, when you go inside, When you're able to go inside, you're there. You really are there. It's a very difficult concept, but
explain to them what getting there means. As you experienced it, just give them the experience. I want you to give them the meditation, what it was to get there.
First, I felt challenged. Really felt challenged.
I challenged him hard, by the way. I gave him a good
right. And being wrestlers, it's like getting caught with a really hard crossface. It doesn't feel good. But there's two things you do. You either cower down or you face the challenge. And we're all tough here. We've gone through our own personal life, and we've reached this point where we're all here. And so we met the challenge and we accepted it. And like all of us are tough people here, we didn't accept failure. Right. And we met it. And what I understood by going inside is accepting the challenge. Don't get your feathers ruffled up, and just go inside and try to grasp these concepts via wrestling, because wrestling is one of those things that I think a lot of people can really connect with, because wrestling, we all wrestle within ourselves, and there's a lot of wins, there's a lot of ups and downs, and there's only one person to blame, and that's us. I didn't run hard enough. I didn't diet good. I should have gotten sleep when I should have. My grades should have been high. Whatever the situation, ultimately, the beauty about wrestling is that it's all on you.
What did you do with the meme? How did you get in the meme?
We're getting the meme.
We had a wisdom meme. It was weird language, right?
Very weird language. It's a concept that I've never even heard of before I showed up today. So I was able to go inside by just really honestly letting down my guard, allowing myself to be that wrestler, 13-year-old again, and allowing my coach, i.e. Rabbi Katz, to guide me, to teach me the technique. And we had a moment right there sitting on that bench that, you know what? The click was, I got to get rid of that arrogance that I will never be on that mountain with my hand raised like that guy Rocky when he finally, gets his hand raised. That's not true. Right. I was fooling myself. Yeah. And that's not it. So once again, I hope I was able to add a little bit more clarity, or if I was already clear for you.
I made him go in. I made you go in. I was in. I looked at him and said, I'm in. I got it.
Yeah.
I'm in. What are you gonna do?
That's why you're the coach.
That's why you're the coach. Yeah, and you gotta be vulnerable. Yeah. Right? That's why I wasn't a good wrestler. I wasn't vulnerable.
Yeah.
But I saw you lower your guard. I felt you lower your guard. You know what? All right. You had to zone me out. You had to get rid of me. Stare at the picture. Right? Separate from me. Remember, you never wrestle with your opponent. You're wrestling yourself.
Yeah, right.
You're wrestling me. I made you stop wrestling me. Forget me. Go in there and do it. That's when you lost defeat. It wasn't even there.
And quite honestly, it's like what we're saying is you're just discovering light and darkness, and there was a little darkness, and darkness means you're lost. Darkness means it's very uncomfortable. Right. Darkness means you're vulnerable.
Right.
And to be able to be, I feel, a great wrestler, you got to just let yourself be guided. And, Baruch Hashem, that we have a good coach that's willing to go to do this for us, and willing to go in, quote unquote, unconventional ways with wrestling, but it's all the same. It's the same terms. And,
You see, it really is the same terms. You see the terms I use. I never realized how much wrestling talk I talk. Stance, position.
It's good positioning. Good positioning.
It just keeps coming out.
Good positioning, good work ethic, and never ever giving up on ourselves, and never giving up on putting. Like I said earlier, I've said this before in the rest, and when I was a coach, steel sharpens steel.
That's it.
And by us all being here, and listening and doing this is like, this is a workout room. We're training right now.
That's it.
We're pushing each other, and like in all wrestling rooms, you're only as good as your workout partner. So I think, what we're doing here is training. I told coach, there's the terms. I asked Rabbi, I said, so what, you want to train tomorrow?
So I said, yeah. Yeah.
or sewing or whatever design. Yeah, or try, judo. So there's that's the thing about wrestling is all grappling. It's judo, it's sambo, it's jiu-jitsu, it's folk style, it's freestyle, it's Greco, it's all of it, but it's all the same terms. Being able to reach those moments of failure, getting uncomfortable, allowing your coach to point out your mistakes, showing them your mistakes. And nobody wants to be shown their mistakes. But if you can humble yourself, put your hand down and not think that your hand has already been raised. And tonight was really, really a special night to know that we never have our hand raised. And that makes us humble and that makes us hungry.
And all wisdom is then available. That's it. Once you're not getting the hand raised, that guy in the meme already got the hand raised. He already did it for you.
Yeah,
he reclaimed the wisdom. For him to want to get his hand raised, he brought back the wisdom. Now you just get the wisdom.
Well, for sure. It's just I'll tune in next week. I don't know where I'll be. I don't know if I'll be sitting here again. I don't know, but either way, it was great being here with y'all. Thank you for listening to me, to us. I hope my little wrestling background was able to help.
By the way, I don't know if you mentioned Guillermo's from Texas, so it's like Texas gone Israel.
Yeah,
you missed me in Texas. Now we hooked up in Israel. So Loretta's gonna be in Texas, I think. Soon. I don't know if you guys want whatever. Well, he lives in Amarillo, so just let me know.